Hello, I'm Shiver here from GosuGamers, Dota 2 Asia Championships. That's why we're in Shanghai. And with me on the couch, it is Zai from Team Secret. Zai, how are you doing today?
Okay.
You're doing okay. After a 15-0 group stage, you're not, doing real good.
Just okay.
Okay, I'll take it. Actually, I'm curious. I've been told before I went to China, the stories that I heard from China was the food is bad and nobody liked China. To be honest, I like the food here. Is it something?
I think those opinions might have been a bit skewed. I think some of the teams that went to China rather early and in the Dota 2, what can you say, the history of Dota 2, probably had the worst lands. Like I remember G1 and stuff like that. They didn't have that many good experiences in China. But I've been here twice. I've had a good time both times. So yeah.
No problems with jet lag?
To begin with, there's always jet lag, but it usually fades off after a couple of days, so nothing right now.
Okay, good to hear. Your group stage run 15-0, I already mentioned it. Were you expecting that?
No. No.
Okay, so I just talked to S4, and he said you were expecting to do well because of your scrims. He was also not expecting 15-0. What kind of score were you kind of expecting, or how did you think you do or place in the group stages?
I think we saw ourselves as maybe one of the stronger Western teams, but maybe not up there with the best Chinese teams. But then the Chinese teams continued to disappoint throughout the group stage, so yeah.
Why do you think that is, that the Chinese teams performed the way they did?
I think most of it has to do with the reshuffle. We already had our Western reshuffle just before this tournament, and everyone was satisfied with how their teams ended up. As far as China goes, they haven't had theirs yet. And all their contracts and their obligations, it was up until this tournament. So after this tournament, there's a lot of rumors and stuff, and a lot of players are probably going to switch teams. So I think that's probably all the Chinese teams are rather unstable right now. So I think that's probably
motivation missing.
I mean, if you know you're getting kicked, there's bound to be some loss of motivation. So yeah.
Okay, of course you just found a new home. How are you enjoying your time in Team Secret?
It's been good so far. I was a bit worried before the tournament since we hadn't played any matches, and you don't want to disappoint everyone with your new team. You want to come out with a bang, and I guess we did. Yeah.
And you're playing a new role as well, so that's really different for you. How are you enjoying offlane? Do you find it a bigger challenge? And actually, before you answer that question, I talked to Bulba a while back when he switched from support to offlane. Or rather, actually, you did it vice versa. He went from offlane to support, and he said that being a support player made him such a better player in Dota. Do you feel like being a support player helps you perform better in the offlane as well?
It probably does. I think playing support gives you a rather deep understanding of the game. Even though you don't play all the roles, I think you understand what all the roles want to achieve in the game. So as far as myself, I didn't have that many trouble switching from the support role to the offlane role. So yeah.
And you just performed in the 1v1 tournament. As the only offlane player, disregarding results, did you find it a compliment because you were public chosen?
Yeah, I guess it was kind of fun. I lost, that's not fun, but yeah. I think I'm not very well suited for 1v1 tournaments. I take too many risks. It would be like putting a host in a 1v1 tournament. I think we play kind of the same. So, I first blooded the guy, and then I dove his tower, and I died. Kind of threw it away. So.
Well, you're generally a fairly greedy player. You were a fairly greedy player in EG. You're a fairly greedy player in Secret as well. Do you feel like there's a big difference in terms of space being created for you? How much space do you feel you have in the game, and how much space do you feel like you should create for the rest of your team? For example, when you're playing Broodmother or something like that.
If I'm playing Brood, it's all about controlling my lane, controlling their jungle, and giving space to the others. Because that's what Brood does. But if we look at my other heroes, I've been playing a ton of Bristleback, and for that hero, I'm kind of left to fend off for myself. Usually, I'm left to my lane, and then my team doesn't really help me because I usually do well anyway. Because you can farm ancients and do all that kind of stuff. So I think we have quite a few strategies, and it all differs. Either I create space, I utilize space, or I do kind of both. But yeah, it's been working out well.
And you're actually, in your pubs, you play quite a bit of Techies, I've been told. And I've been told you're good Techies as well. Would you say about your performance of Techies against Cloud9?
That was a rather poor performance, yeah.
But you won.
We did win, but I didn't really contribute much, so I was a bit disappointed.
What do you think needs to happen before Techies is going to be really in there in terms of the picks? Maybe not picked to ban every game, but at least be a more situational pick than he might be now.
I think his stasis traps, they're useless. Essentially useless because there's like a 2-second, what's it called? Like you need to arm them first, and then there's the 2-second activation time. So it's essentially 4 seconds before it actually stuns. So it's basically impossible to land after any combo. Maybe a black hole, but that's basically it.
Even Yules?
It doesn't work with Yules because you use them, you place it, and then there's 4 seconds, so they can run away. So I don't think that spell is very good. Maybe change it a bit. Yeah.
So if that spell got buffed, you'd see chance for Techies to be more consistent in professional Dota?
I think if his stun was more reliable, he would be a top pick, probably. Yeah.
You even got a Techies ban against you. Were you surprised about that one?
I don't think there were that many other heroes to ban. I mean, they saw us play it with the exact same heroes, so why not?
And when that happens, do you feel like, because it's a respect ban, obviously, do you feel like that's a sense of accomplishment?
Yeah, it was fun. I smiled. Yeah.
That's important. With your team, you're playing for Team Secret. Very different from Team EG, as in the organization-wise. EG, solid organization, like long-standing organization, solid salary and everything like that. Team Secret is very different. Does that influence the way you play, or maybe gives you more motivation or pressure because you know that if you don't do well, like the organization doesn't do well?
No, personally, it doesn't bother me much. I like having the freedom I didn't really have in EG. I don't have to wear the jersey everywhere I go and stuff like that.
S4 actually mentioned that he finds it a shame that you don't have any clothes for Team Secret.
Well, maybe it's because he's been without them for a long time, but when you go around, you have to wear the jersey every day, blah blah blah. You get kind of tired of it. So right now it feels good to have some freedom. Yeah.
Okay, well that's good to hear. On Reddit recently there was a comment that someone said, Team Secret has the team fight of Na'Vi, the efficiency of EG, and the split push of Alliance. Would you agree?
I saw something else too with the dick of EG, but maybe that was.
I didn't see that one particularly.
That was a good one too. But yeah, I guess you can agree. We have all these different players come from different teams. How many teams? I guess 3, as you said. Yeah. And we each add up to what we call Team Secret. So yeah.
So that's working out.
That's working out.
Okay, and of course, what was I gonna say? Wow, this is a mini TI, and you were at TI 4, of course. How do you feel like the difference in terms of how the tournament feels for you? Does it feel like a mini TI? Does it feel like exactly like TI? The way you're playing, the motivation, the excitement, or how you're doing?
I think personally it feels like TI. I think as Team Secret we feel like we prepared as if it was TI, and we went into the tournament with the same kind of motivation as it was TI. But I think I can't say the same for all the other teams. I feel like there's been some lackluster performances. I guess what we talked about with the reshuffling of the Chinese teams and stuff adds to it. So in that regard, I guess this tournament is not equally, to TI on that level. But I still think this has been a super good tournament.
Any Western teams that you were disappointed by or expected to do better? Or rather, that you were impressed by, maybe even?
No, I think... I guess Hellraisers improved a lot over the course of the tournament. Also Na'Vi surprised a lot of people. People usually count those teams out, and people did count them out after Na'Vi went like 0-2 0-3 the first day. So it was fun seeing them come back, and I think before this tournament a lot of people viewed the Chinese scene as the stronger one, and now I think it's kind of switched. So yeah.
For Hellraisers, actually, I talked to Dread earlier and I asked what were their preparations for this tournament, and he said, well, they kind of didn't prepare because they know that in a tournament like this, it develops its own kind of meta, and that's probably why they were able to adjust that much. Do you think that's a good way to approach? Obviously, for this tournament, you've had a very different approach from that. What was your opinion about Dread's approach in this case?
I think it's a very good approach for a team. If you aren't completely sure of what you want to play throughout the tournament, if you haven't figured out, if you look at some heroes and see these heroes are the, top picks, they're the strongest picks. If you don't have that, I think we kind of had that. But if you don't have that, I think that's the best approach, the one Dread had. To just open up and look at what other teams are playing, try and adapt their own kind of playstyle, evolve throughout the tournament.
Because other people can't figure you out as much, or?
It's just that, you know, people pick these heroes for a reason, and if you understand that reason, you can be, you know, as strong of a team, I think. Yeah.
And you didn't play in any qualifiers or anything of the sorts. Do you feel like that was an advantage, that maybe less teams knew what you were going to do before the tournament actually happened?
Maybe, but I think if we played the qualifiers, it would have been a couple of weeks before we actually got here, and I think we might have been running some other stuff than from what we were running here at DAC, so I'm not sure.
Okay, top three. If you can't, well, you can name yourself as one of the three, the random order. Which other two would you go for?
Big God. Vici.
I actually mentioned Vici to S4, but then he mentioned to me that you probably would have beaten Vici before, so you wouldn't face him again.
Also, we're doing that stuff.
I didn't know we were doing that stuff until S4 started it, but I'm figuring if you weren't mentioning Vici, which other team would you mention?
So on the other side of the bracket, we have Big God Navi. Actually, this is too complicated.
We're just keeping Big God and Vici.
Big God Vici, and then probably EG. Yeah.
Do you feel like you got the better end of the Western reshuffle, or did they still have some startup time to go through first?
I mean,
I see an evil laugh.
as I made the decision to leave the team, I obviously had to, you know, hope for something better. So it'd be kind of stupid to say that they got the better end. So.
Not even an even trade?
I mean, we beat them, so yeah.
Fair enough answer. Well, thank you very much for taking the time for this interview. I would normally ask like for sponsor shoutouts, but since you don't have them, any like shoutouts to people or plugins that you want to make? This is the time.
Shout out to Corey. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much.